Welcome to the Wild Hope Rising podcast. We're your hosts, Sunny Kane and Tammy Clotton, and we're so glad you stopped by. We want to help you be wildly you, and believe it or not, you're already her. We invite you to gather around the table with us. We'll help you move through your wilderness season, no matter how you got here. So lean in, let's ignite your purpose, and discover what you're made of. Buckle up, my friend. It's time for Wild Hope. Well, welcome back to the podcast, ladies. We are so excited to spend some time with you today. We hope you've all been enjoying this series that we have been in. Tammy and I are loving it. We're like, maybe it's just going to be the Wild Hope way from now on, this fresh sound, new ground. I just think it's like our forever series. What do you think, Tammy? I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
We have lots of things to say about this, right?
We do. And I think that's the heartbeat behind when we started Wild Hope, we wanted to help women take fresh ground, take new ground in their lives. And so that brings us to our guest today. What is super fun, she's a repeat guest. And if you were not around the Wild Hope Rising community the last time Laurie Dufresne was here, please go back and listen to her episode on limiting beliefs. It will bless your life. But Laurie, just to give her a quick introduction, she is not only a dear friend, but she is a mindset and transformation coach, a mentor, a speaker, and she has a new signature course that the very last time you were on the program, Laurie, you had just released that. So it's kind of fun. We get to meet you after the release, but welcome back to the podcast. And why don't you tell our ladies who've never met you a little bit about you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me back, ladies. I love this. I love what you are both doing, and it's an honor to be a part of it. So, well, gosh, where do I even begin? So I have just been I'll just start with my coaching experience over the past 14 years. It has been just honestly a huge honor and blessing, and going way back where I used to be very shy and very, feeling like I really didn't have a whole lot of value to bring the conversation. And it's amazing how God really can turn things around for people when we are open and willing to just trust and to surrender. And it's just been amazing. I think that He gives us these opportunities through others to be able to stretch ourselves. And when we're focusing on helping others and serving other people, it's like we're not so much thinking about ourselves anymore. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's what kind of sums up my whole journey over the past 14 years is just that. And it's amazing. You can't put words to it. This isn't stuff that you can just make up. There's no other way but to just glorify Him in what He's done. And it is my heart's passion to help people move forward in their life, because life is too short. We're here for a reason.
Yes.
And God has instilled purpose in each and every one of us. And that's what I love to help people uncover.
That's awesome. So last time you were on the program, we were like, is it going to come out before the podcast goes live? And I have to say, I have the new book here. Ladies, you might not see me holding it up, but Laurie put out this book, Breaking Free from Limiting Beliefs. And we would just love to hear, before we dive into why we brought you on today, tell us a little bit, how has the launch gone, and has that been fun? I mean, just catch us up on that a little bit.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. It's been very, very rewarding to see the people that are actually diving in and doing the work. There's some people that have maybe gotten the book or gotten the course, and then maybe they kind of get lost in life and they don't make it a priority. But for the people that are really diving in, the conversations have just made my heart so happy to see them, and that it's working, and that it's simple, and it's just structure and simplicity that helps you not go so deep, but helps you to just be awakened to, I didn't understand that invisible wall was between me and what I want in my life, whether it be relationships or goals or careers, whatever that is. It's been a blessing. It's truly been a blessing, because when I was in the process of, what am I even doing here? Why am I doing this? And, it was just for that one person. And so the one-on-one conversations and coaching sessions that I've been able to have with people, it has just been a beautiful, beautiful blessing. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get into more people's hands.
Yeah.
That is so wonderful. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And my mind goes to, for a woman out there who might have a little idea in your heart, Laurie just went for it. And you heard her say something I want you to hear that. She just did it for the one. And sometimes as women, we put so much pressure on ourselves with these big dreams that we think we have to start the big. Friends, just start the small and see what God does through your yes and your willingness. I mean, Laurie is now on the other side of that decision, and other people's lives are being, reached. So thank you for being a woman who says yes, Laurie.
Thank you. You're definitely one person, Sunny, that's always told me what do you call me? A go, set, ready, not a ready, set, go. I've learned that. And I feel like that's when God comes in and takes over in the creative process. Because I think this should probably, I think a lot of people can relate to this, but when I do, I'm not like always just go for it, but there's moments where you just kind of feel that push. And it's like, okay, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm just going to do it. And we're going to just see what happens. And that's when God shows up. And I just encourage everybody, if there's something that's been hanging over your head or just in the back of your heart and your mind, and you're like, wouldn't it be cool if one day I could do this or that? Just trust God in that process. It's not easy when you're depending on yourself, but silence your mind, give God time to come into your heart and speak to you, and have the silence, because for me, that's when he shows up. And that's all I did. Like every day I just opened my computer and just got into that space of what else do people need and what else do people need? And that's when things change. So I just want to encourage you. There's nothing special about me other than I've learned that when I depend on myself, it doesn't work so great. And when I have complete dependence on God, he makes things way more magnificent than we could ever imagine.
That's a good word. Thank you.
Yeah. And there's also that, it's like dependency on God. I mean, Tammy and I are clearly, here we are on this podcast. We're in our yes too.
Yep.
And I think that there's also been this beautiful thing of not only dependence on God, but we keep saying the future is we, of learning to like lean on other ladies, find people. I know at the beginning, Laurie, of you starting this book, I remember being on a phone call with you and we were just brainstorming, like, what could it be? And so lean on some women in your life, ladies. Yes. Start throwing your ideas by other people so you get that encouragement. Someone to say, this is an awesome idea. Go for it, girl. So anyways.
Or they might say the opposite.
Yeah,
this is a terrible idea and maybe you should try something else. Or you might spark off of, that one idea and come up with something even better.
Yeah.
So it can work anyway.
It's that whole, the ideas are all good because they're fertilizer. They're either the idea or fertilizer, which fertilizer is some poo, So anyways, okay. Well, we had to open up talking about that book of yours because it's a big thing in your life. And we're women, our whole community is it's a table full of women who we champion other women. And so thanks for allowing us to celebrate with you. But the reason we reached out to you, so we've been in this series, Fresh Sound, New Ground, and trying to help women take new ground in their lives. And we know that sometimes takes having a new perspective or hearing a fresh sound in their life. And so we've been taking this many different angles, but I am on Laurie's email list for the women in her coaching community. And I started noticing, Laurie, you started dropping all these emails on relationships. And I went, oh my goodness, let's have Laurie Dufresne come on and talk to us about taking fresh ground in our relationships. So with that, I mean, we have a whole conversation lined out, but Laurie, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you imagine helping women take fresh ground in their life? What is the first thing that comes to mind of this is something that you have to have a perspective shift in, a fresh sound?
Yeah. Well, you just said it, a fresh perspective, because when we go through life doing things a specific way, you have to take some time to analyze and say, how's this working for you? And what needs to shift? Because for a good majority of my life, relationships were one of my biggest obstacles. And like I mentioned earlier, I was very shy, very quiet. And in those years, I was such a people pleaser, right? And so I just wanted to be liked. I didn't know how to fit in. I didn't know how to have those conversations. I didn't believe in myself. And so as I started moving and growing, right, and realizing that there were opportunities, it wasn't until my daughter was in preschool that I started hanging out with the moms of the preschoolers. And I was like, I like these women. I remember telling my husband, I don't want to be shy anymore. And so for me, that was my shift. Apply this to you. What shift needs to happen in your life? What new perspective can you look at? Because relationships, people are everywhere you go. And it's amazing how much conversations can go wrong, stresses that we are carrying on our shoulders. A conversation maybe that we had 1, 2, 3 years ago is still creating a wall between you and that person. Yeah. It keeps you up at night. You're frustrated. You walk away and you're angered. And the more and more I've been working with people, the more I realize that this is a huge obstacle. Like, we may see these goals and these visions and these things that we want in our life, but it could be a word that somebody spoke over us. It could be hurt. It could be a disbelief that maybe somebody said that they don't have in you, or whatever that is preventing you. And so that's my encouragement. And that's why I really wanted to dive into a relationship series, is because we don't realize that. We don't understand that it's like, oh, it could be my listening skills. It could be my speaking. It could be my holding on to resentment that's preventing me from achieving all of these other goals in my life and living my best life. And people don't generally see that that's a huge obstacle that's preventing them. And so I started the year with a goal setting series, and I very quickly jumped straight into relationships because of that, because that is one of the biggest obstacles.
Yeah. Do you think more often are people, because you're saying that we don't see the obstacles, where do you think that people are most often looking at themselves in relationships, or do you think that we're most often, looking at that other person? I mean, clearly we have some limiting beliefs in that area in and of itself.
Oh, yes. A lot of limiting beliefs. I will say, I can't speak for everybody. Most natural response is to be putting the blame, shame, guilt on another instead of taking the personal responsibility for yourself, because we really overcomplicate this. But it's easier. I love the saying, like, when you point your finger at somebody, you've got 3 more pointing back at you. Right? And so this is where the aha moment happens. This, I believe, is where the breakthrough happens, is when we understand that we can't change them. We can't. There is nothing that you can say or do that is going to change them. The only thing that you can change is the way you are going to show up and the way that you are going to react. So my mentorship in this area is fall in love with the process of finding freedom for yourself. Fall in love with the process of learning and understanding different behavioral styles. Fall in love with the process of giving grace to people. Understanding that we are in a world with hurting people. And I used to put these expectations on others to treat me a specific way, to treat me the way that I wanted to be treated. But honestly, they just want to be treated the way they want to be treated. But it begins with us. So yes, that's a long answer to your question. But yes, I think most people really look more at others instead of ourselves, and it's a learned skill and a learned trait.
So one of the things, Laurie, that you say is that you like to create spaces where people can feel seen and heard and valued. And I know I'm passionate about this too. How do you go about that?
So for me, I will say not everybody, I'll speak for myself here. I feel very blessed and fortunate to have grown up with some pretty amazing women who are very natural at this. So that's what I got to see growing up. I think about my grandmother who lived in our home, just the sweetest woman in the world. She, came from Lebanon, didn't speak English. I could speak Lebanese, so we were able to communicate, but there was this simplicity in our conversations and just being with. There was never an expectation. She never overtook the conversation. She just wanted to sit with me. She just wanted to be with me. And I just can't even tell you what that meant to me. And I want to ask everybody a question. Who are those people in your life that are interested in you? Think of a person in your life. Who are those people that when you're with them, you walk away feeling better than you did before you saw them? Who are those people? And what we want to do is become more interested in people instead of being the one that's interesting, the one that's doing all the talking and the loudest person in the room and the person trying to take over the conversation. I think the first start with that is really thinking about who is that person in your life that makes you feel amazing and special and seen and heard, and that they create a space. They create a space for you to just be with them without any expectation. Because if you feel that, you know what it feels like, now you're going to know how to create that space for other people. But if you just disattach yourself to like, oh, I'm just going to create a space for someone. No, you want to create that same space that somebody has created for you. And you know, I always say crystal clear clarity. You need to have crystal clear clarity about what that looks like. And the best way to attach yourself to it is through a personal experience.
So I'm thinking of for the woman who would say, I don't have someone like that in my life. How in the world do I model this if I haven't experienced this? Because, sometimes it's hard to look at that and say, I don't feel that. I don't think that I've experienced that.
So I really want to go deep here if I can.
Go for it.
Okay. And this might be hard to hear. Is it that you don't have somebody there that's modeling that for you, or are you not allowing yourself to see it? Are you not allowing yourself to be in a conversation with someone and allowing them to pour into you and allowing them? Are you not putting yourself in circles that you're in a nurturing environment and finding? So it's like, find your tribe. And if you have a tribe, look inward again. Is there something in you that is putting up a wall and not allowing other people to love you? And that's a deep conversation. I know it really is. And it's a hard one for people. A lot of people have gone through a lot of hurt. I want to be very, 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 very sensitive to that. There's some really big walls up there. And I think the desire has to be there. You've got to, it's like, you just like anything in life, right? What's your why? Why would you want to break down your walls? How would that impact your life? If you did break down those walls, what could your future relationships look like? And I think that why has to be there. And I'm going to encourage you, like, reach out to someone, whether it be your church or a close friend or somebody who you have complete trust with that can help you maybe uncover some of those things. I'm just going to, not to put a plug for my book, but I'm going to say, whether it's my workbook or another book, there's so many resources out there to help you take one first step. And as we're speaking into, this being a Christian podcast and encouraging people to grow in faith, that beautiful Bible is the most beautiful example of Jesus's love and Jesus's compassion and his heart. He was the greatest listener of all, right? And so you may not have that person in front of you, but we have God, we have Jesus who loves you more than any human in this earth could possibly love you. And if that's not someone, or if your faith is not something that you are strong in, reach out to these amazing ladies. They will give you resources. But I think that's going to be your first start.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you feel like in general, that whole, do you think that every human has a need to be seen and heard, and maybe even specifically in women, do we have a need for this, even if we don't know we have the need?
I believe yes. I believe as women, we tend to take on the world. We caring for our families, caring for everybody else around us. I'll speak for myself. Many, 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 many years, I still contend with this of putting myself last. And when I put myself around other women, I first of all realized that I'm not alone, because sometimes we feel alone. We feel like we're the only ones walking through difficult seasons. And it's hard. It's hard being in that space. And I'm a faith-filled woman. And sometimes in those hard wilderness seasons, I find it really challenging to even pray. And I'm like, why is that so hard when I know exactly what I need right now? Why can't I bring myself to even just have that quiet time with God? And then there's those people who I know that I have that speed of trust with and love me dearly, and they pray over me when I'm not strong enough to do that. And I can't tell you, like, that power of community. And I believe that's what we're all here to do on earth, right? Like, so I believe that as a woman, because we're always filling everybody else's cup and taking care that in community and being seen and heard and being able to open your heart to just know that you're not alone in what you're walking through. When another woman or whoever can pour into you, it's amazing how much more full you feel again. And it gets you back on your feet again. It just, I don't know, that you ladies can speak to this as well too, I'm sure.
Yeah. It is very filling when you find people or a person that you can connect with that can pour into your life, especially, I mean, Sunny and I do this for each other once in a while too. It's like when we're feeling low, the other one may pray over us, may send us an encouraging word, that kind of thing, and vice versa. And so we want everyone to have that because we know what a blessing it is. And so any lady who does not have that at this point, we do want to encourage you to just take small steps. That person that you have been kind of like, man, I would like to get to know them. Why don't you just ask them to go out for a coffee and just see if you have some things in common? Just take a small step, right? Yeah, whatever, like take your kids to the playground and you guys sit on the bench while the kids play so that there's some level of connection there. Mm-hmm. And it starts small.
And for the woman who finds themselves isolated right now, this might be putting yourself in an environment where you can find those people that you would want to. So this is risky, right? It's risky to be seen and heard. And I think we live in a world that tries to feel seen and heard. We all probably have that desire. It's underneath, even if we tell ourselves we don't. I do think that there is a lack of fulfillment if we're not being seen and heard. There is something that we feel is missing. And so we're looking to Instagram posts and something like that I feel so seen because this person is speaking my language. And that can have some value, right? I mean, Tammy and I opened up this conversation sharing with Laurie how excited we were about somebody who we have felt seen by her posts. But there is a different level of connection that happens when you are across from a real human being, because an Instagram post actually can't make that need of my heart feel like, Tammy sending me a Marco Polo video with a prayer on it, or Laurie giving me a quick voice text. I mean, it is a need. And we did it through risk. So know that what Laurie is asking you to do and what we're speaking to, this does take risk, ladies. And you are Wild Hope Wilderness women. You have a mind to grow. If you are hanging with us, we know this about you. So how about if we get our risk on and know other ladies in this community are doing it too, we'll do it together. So, and what's the value here, Laurie? What happens in relationships when people do feel heard? And maybe you have to contrast this with what about when they don't feel heard? Let's hear that contrast a bit.
Yeah, I think when you are in being able to be heard and to express what you're going through, there's just a safety. I think it's almost like you can release that off of your shoulders. You're not carrying this weight all by yourself. And I think that's so important to do that because we are so much more alike than we are different. And in conversation and in, all of these years of coaching, the more and more I have these opportunities to talk with people, the more it's like, I almost want to talk. Oh, I get it. I want to almost talk over them and jump in and me too. I feel exactly the same way. And this is what I did. And so there's just that sense of vulnerability and knowing, and it was not easy for me to do this at first. And I just wanted to add that to what you were saying too, Sunny. It is risky. And at first, it's going to feel very, very uncomfortable. And I'm not saying you have to divulge every single secret or anything like that. Start with small things like, I just had a hard day, or I'm so exhausted, I'm working and my kids, and, just start with something small and just see how you feel. Show yourself that you can start trusting, that you can start opening yourself up. And I think that when we don't have an opportunity to feel seen and heard and voice maybe something that's been going on or whatever, it's I think that we just become very reactive and sometimes bitter sometimes we start creating these stories in our mind of what we think is happening, and then we have this internal conversation that honestly, most of the time isn't even true. There's stories that we're starting to create for ourselves and making our drama 10 times more than it even has to be. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so true.
It's so true.
And there's the art of listening too, right? So while we're sharing those small tidbits, it sometimes can be a challenge to listen to other people. What do you think some of the real challenges are to really listening to someone else?
Well, I think, we all have different listening styles, right? And so I think sometimes we want everybody to listen the way we listen, communicate the way we want to communicate. So when the listening styles and the communication styles are misaligned, it's very challenging, right? You can find yourself drifting. You find yourself like, just get to the point. Let's move forward. Like, it's like, I can't take it. Just give me the Cliff Notes version, right?
Is that how you guys feel when I talk? Because I know I'm like Myrna Moda mouth over here. I can feel people like, wrap it up.
Well, and I tend to talk slow and methodical, right? And so some people are like, come on, let's go.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm a little, I think, I don't know, I think I'm a little bit of everything, but I'm also the person that sometimes it's like, I want to jump in so quickly. I have to be very conscious of like, okay, allow them to say their story. It doesn't matter if I have a similar story, right? I want to come in, I want to fix the problem. I want to give them the answer. I want to, I'm sorry, Sunny, I probably had many conversations with you like this. I'm apologizing publicly here. We're all learning and growing. But yeah, it's like, oh, I want to share my story because I had a similar story, or I want to, and then we cut people off. And then there's the people that are maybe in their head and they are a little slower to speak and they're overanalyzing the story or they're thinking. And then sometimes we're a little uncomfortable with awkward silence. So I think it's important to understand that what do we do in moments where maybe we're misaligned with whoever we're having conversation with is, again, we make this about us. And this is an opportunity to grow in this. It's an opportunity to become more of an active listener and just have a little bit more peace and calm. Be focused on the person in front of you. We all know what it's like when you're talking to somebody and their eyes are like wandering in a million different directions and they're looking to see what else is going on in the room and maybe they're uninterested, right? But that's not a way to let somebody be seen and heard. If there is a loud atmosphere that you're in, say, hey, you know what? I really want to hear you. Let's step aside. I'd love to be able to hear you so I can be more focused on what's going on, And so anyway, it's just being conscious of now that we're learning these things and the advantages of being an active listener and how your conversations can go so much stronger. The why do you want to be a better listener? Why do you want to slow down and focus? How is that going to impact your life and your communication and your relationships if you are a better listener and helping create a space to be seen and heard?
Yeah. How much do you think digital devices play into the problem of listening to someone else?
Oh my gosh. Do people even know how to really have a conversation? The younger generation, like, it's really sad, honestly. Like, it's very sad. I see, just even in my kids, like, pick up the phone and talk to them. Like, you don't have to just text. And like, the texts are so short. It can't even be like a full word anymore. Like, I don't get this. And there's a huge impact. And I think, again, until they see the value of learning it to be different. I mean, it almost makes them the minority in their age group, in their demographic, to be the communicator because people think they're weird. Like, what do you mean? Why are you calling me?
Yeah,
it's not just with young adults, because if you go to a restaurant, you see people even our age that are sitting around and they're at a meal together and they're on their phones, right? So maybe one step that we can take to start helping with that and being able to listen more actively, what's one step we can take?
Be the example, right? Be the example. Like, if it's your kids are going to do what you do, right? But again, show them the value of why it's important to put your phone down at the dinner table, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear about your day. Let them know you want that. You want to be, you want them to be seen and heard, like this is our time to connect. If you're in a restaurant, I mean, people are going to do what you do. And if you let them know the importance and the value of why this is important to me, you don't want to point the finger like you're always on your phone and get off your phone, put your phone down. Who wants to be yelled at?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Right.
Well, my kids are always like, well, Mom, you're always on your phone too. And I'm like, you're right. So don't worry. I bought the brick. This ad has been brought to you by Brick. Just kidding. No, but I did. I got myself a brick, and I'm telling you, it is helpful. It locks your phone on the times you set. Now I'm able to pay attention to my kids more so I can be that example.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
What is a brick?
It's like
that's what I was
a
trying to figure
magnet.
it out.
It goes on your fridge. I swear, ladies, it's not a sponsored ad here, but it's this little thing. But I did get it because I kept being inundated with ads. Like Instagram knew I had a problem. And so it was trying to sell me a solution. Thank you, Brick. And it's this magnet that I put it on my fridge, but you can set your time. So you know how you set that little, like a lock on your phone for your Instagram time, but immediately it pops up with 15 more minutes. All day, and everybody bypasses that. The brick doesn't let you. And so your phone is fully locked, the features that you don't want to use. And yeah, I heard about it from a guest I interviewed. Her name is Hannah Brencher, and she went on the whole unplugged journey. And that was what helped her have 1,000 hours unplugged in a year. But earlier, Laurie, you said that listening is filtered through belief. Like it sounded like that listening was filtered through belief. Can you explain that in a simple way of what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our limiting beliefs, they come from our past experiences, either your childhood or maybe even an adult experience where somebody maybe made you feel a specific way, or you made yourself feel a specific way, or whatever happened, it goes to your heart and it's almost like you're scarred. And what happens is that we put a protection mechanism, which is like an invisible wall that protects us from getting hurt again and putting ourselves in those situations. So maybe in the past, you might have thought, oh, I'm not very smart. Maybe you were in school and you didn't speak up or whatever. So you're like, I'm not smart, or nobody likes me, or my opinion does not matter. All those things I've thought about myself in the past. Or it could be even in past conversations you've had maybe with somebody, right? Like, she never listens to me. She's always over talking me. I'm so frustrated with her. Or, why is she so rude to people? Or all those things. Those are limiting beliefs. And now it's a filter. Right? So we're seeing this new conversation through a filter. And so we're bringing all of that into our listening skills. So it's preventing us, right, to have a conversation, because we've got an internal conversation going on in our mind of all of these things, and we're not fully present. Okay, so that's basically what's happening. And so there's lots of depth to this. Yeah. There's so much depth in what, like, let's say you're having a conversation with someone and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm not smart enough, or she doesn't even like me anyway, so why am I even having this conversation? And maybe this person really wants to get to know you. Maybe they were an old high school friend and maybe you had no connection with them whatsoever, and they were a popular girl and you weren't. And then now 20 years later, you're like, oh, you run into them at the store and you still have those old beliefs of this person in front of you, and they're like over it. They're over it and they're trying to talk to you, but you're still looking at that person with a filter. And so you're not allowing a conversation that could actually be a beautiful new friendship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you think in that, do we ever, have you seen people, and I'm probably, permission if you have to lean into me in this because I'm just asking, sometimes in my listening, honestly, what trips me up is when I believe my discernment is going off on what is happening with that other person. So then I'll vacillate between, is this my discernment, or is this person really you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the filters I have. And so I guess the question there is, if you believe you are discerning something about the person's communication style, the words that are coming out of their mouths, do you think we get tripped up with that? Like, is there a caution that you would offer people that have that me?
Well, I think that there's a no judgment zone that we kind of have to address. And we can sometimes, this is another really deep conversation. I think the most important thing with when you're conversing with people and listening, and we're kind of have something else going on in our mind, and we're, forecasting maybe the way the conversation is going to go, or maybe I'm in disagreement with what it is. Just know that you can still be part of a conversation and maybe not agree with that person. You can still be part of a conversation and not have to. It's really just getting comfortable being present. If it's somebody that you have trust with and you want to challenge them on something, you can ask them a question. It's always better to do that and jump into the conversation and just say, can I ask you a question about that? I would just love to get your perspective, because maybe I'm not seeing it the same way you are. I'm just kind of curious, right? So you're asking a question for clarity. You're, instead of going straight into, I'm assuming that this is what they mean by that, I'm not in agreement with that, or whatever it is. Again, who you're in conversation with, they don't need to be your best friend. And that's one thing that I've realized in life too. However long you're next to them, however long you are with them, the only thing you can control is you just being in a peaceful state. So it doesn't have to get under your skin. That's a choice, right? It doesn't have to be
Whoa. Wait a minute. It's a choice. That's a big one. So
Yeah.
It's a choice to let them get under your skin. Will you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, goodness gracious. Sunny Kane's the one that taught me about overwhelm as a choice. Maybe she needs to help unpack that one. But yeah, like it is a choice. It is a choice. We are not going to change them. We have to understand that. Is it our job to give them the same exact views that we have? Some people are very vocal. Some people are very opinionated. Some people, and honestly, those are the people that challenged me the most. But now there's this freedom that comes when I realized, let them say what they're going to say. Let them do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Do I want to get myself a part of the drama? Do I need to jump into the drama triangle that maybe they're creating and inviting me to come into? No, I don't.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You can see people just even in politics. Trust me, I'm not going to go there, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right? In the political world, you will see people like, oh my goodness, they are not going to let up. Their view is their view, and it is a fact, and it is truth, and it is this and that. And then there's some people like me, like, you know what? Okay. It's not what I believe in. However, is it going to serve me to jump into this conversation with them and prove to them that I'm right? Because is it even going to go that way? It's not.
Right.
Let them say whatever the heck they're going to say, and just nod and just say, you know what, whatever you need to say in that moment. Like, what's beautiful is that we can all have different views and still get along, right? Change the subject, moving on. But Sunny, I mean, you jump into girlfriend, know all about this topic.
What's so funny in this, I hated when Laurie told me that before, something like that, that it's a choice. I'm like, well, it must be nice for you. Nobody gets under your skin. But I am over here with people under my skin. But I think that for me, I had this in real time this week where, I did have discernment. But as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, you know what? I might have had discernment, but I did go into the judgment zone. And why did that judgment zone exist? Because I'm trying to protect myself, because I've been in this circumstance before. And I'd be a fool to not deny that. So while under my skin-ish, it started to get to me, but I'm like, hang on, I have a choice here. Exactly what you're talking about. And I asked God, what do I do? You know what I heard him say? You do not have to let this individual take custody of your peace. And I immediately went, oh man, I can either give my peace away to this circumstance, or I can take the high road. So in that, the reason I'm telling you this is there is a moment of choice. You may have a moment, friend, that it gets under your skin for a moment. You have a reaction in your body. Notice the reaction. What happens next is your choice. It doesn't have to steal your sleep. You can go to God and you can make a decision that you're not going to give your peace away or your confidence away to somebody who is, whatever. So yeah, that's kind of where my mind went. And I had a struggle with it this week. I'm still having a struggle.
Well, and it never goes away. People
No.
are going to challenge us all the time. And trust me, I'm not perfect at this at all. I have to have my moment, but give yourself a 90-second pity party. I read that once in a book years ago. 90-second pity party, go through it, breathe it out, walk away, do whatever you need to do, and then realize, what am I going to do with this information? Am I going to allow myself, am I going to expect that person is going to change for me, or are they just them?
Yeah.
Right? I can't change them. God can. What about this perspective? What if you prayed for them? Right? What if we didn't have to put that burden upon ourselves and walk away and choose to hang on to that for weeks, months, years? You guys, so many people are hanging on to things for an entire lifetime, and it's heartbreaking. Life is so short. And, after there's opportunities for us to heal. And there's opportunities for us to realize that we can love them as they are. They don't have to be exactly the way I want them to be.
Yeah.
And I just think that I'm always thinking about Jesus dying on the cross. And I think about, the way he was treated, and he was slashed, and he was spit on, and he was called a liar and a cheat, and all of these horrific things. And he says, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And we need to know that. We need to live that. By his example, are we being challenged the way he was challenged? Is it that bad? And for him to be able to be put on this earth to give us that unbelievable example that could truly change everybody's life. It could change the world if we could just be more patient and more kind and more loving and more understanding, and ask for God to just bless them, and for God to pray for them, and for God to create healing instead of us being the ones that are carrying this upon ourselves. We overcomplicate it.
Yes. And I have a caution that is coming to my mind. And I'm thinking about the woman who maybe is in a relationship that is abusive or not healthy, and to hear this word, which is true. Jesus is our example in this. Does this mean that I'm supposed to turn the other cheek, that I'm supposed to continue to allow someone to treat me bad, harmful, all of those things, because I need to be gracious and forgiving?
That's a very challenging question. And I will absolutely say, if somebody is in a relationship that is harmful, and that is something definitely to seek professional help with. What I'm talking about in these examples are just conversations, people that get under your skin, people that, more on the lighter side. I think if there is something where there is abuse, or anything where there is harm, absolutely you want to seek attention from somebody. This is not something to take lightly at all.
And that's the thing, what you're addressing is, if somebody is coming into this conversation with what Tammy has, oftentimes you will hear conversations like this and you will misapply them and stay in the abusive relationship. But Wild Hope women, we would never call you to do that as a sign of your faith. Okay, so you did say earlier, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And it just took my mind, Laurie. I have, in different seasons, walked alongside you. I know you talk a lot about DISC, and it made me think of, we really sometimes don't know what we do because we all come at this so different. Can you give us just a little overview of DISC and how that might be shaping our conversations?
Yeah, for sure. This is I love teaching this topic. It is so, I feel like, just interesting. It's such an interesting way to start observing people and the way they show up and the way they react, their behavioral styles is really what DISC is. There's different ways, but for this exercise here, we'll just use DISC. But there's the 4 different styles, and one is going to be dominant, one is influencers, one is more supporter, and C is going to be conscientious. So there's different ways that people react to different situations. So you could have a scenario. We know the people that are more dominant style, they talk really fast, they interrupt, they just want the bottom line right away. And then there's the more influential people. They're the ones that are the life of the party and telling the stories, and they're the animated ones, and they're just, people are attracted to them. They have fun together. They're just all about the life of the party. S people are going to be more the supporters. They're sincere, they're empathetic, they're compassionate, they're quiet, usually a little bit more helpers. They're really all about supporting people in their life. And then C, the conscious, are more of the analytical people. They're going to be slower to speak. They're thinking things through. You can almost see them thinking when you're in a conversation with them. And, definitely like more of the engineers in your life, people that are going to analyze. They're going to, you say, hey, where do you want to go out to dinner? Well, let me go research. Let me go take a look and see how many stars and all of that. You're like, just make a decision.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really fun. I will say this topic, and there's so much on the internet that you could find if you wanted to learn more about it, but it is really fun to be able to learn. You could actually look at my YouTube channel as well too. I do have a session on that as well too.
And we'll link that in the show notes for ladies, because I think that would be really helpful. I've sat under you teaching this a lot. And if we're going to have these kind of conversations, helping other people to feel seen and heard, I think that it's really important this is one way we can do it, is by understanding other people's styles. Yeah. They know not what they do. So
they do not. And it just releases the pressure, I think, because we just expect people to act the way we act and react the way we react and treat people the way we treat people. And when you start understanding that it's like, that's just the way they see life. And I use the analogy of different colored glasses, like, green and red and yellow. And you really, if you think about, you're just looking through life through a set of lenses. And that is just the way you are. It's your behavior. It's not like a personality trait. It's not locked in. The goal of understanding this is that the more you educate yourself and you learn, like God wants us in the center of all. He doesn't want us extreme in one area. You can't communicate with other people if you're like, listen, you got to talk faster for me. You got to give me, we've been around those people that are very big drivers. It's hard. And then a wall of resistance comes up. That for me, that was my biggest, because I was very heavy in the S category of the supporters my whole life. And when those drivers were in my face and like being so mean, like I would walk away and cry. But I tell you what, because of those relationships, that's what showed me that I want to understand this, because I realized, oh, it's not about me. It's not that they don't like me. I'm just not talking fast enough for them. They're not respecting me because they want an answer. And I'm like, oh, whatever you want. I'm totally happy to serve you and please you. And they're just like, where do you want to go to eat?
Right.
Yeah. And like,
I can relate to that.
I'm the I. And so and it's funny because I can be like influential and inspirational, but I'm always about the heart. So that D can be really hard for me. But sometimes because seem like the D, do you know what I mean? But that I would, with the I, sometimes C has a really hard time with me. But I've learned that. And so when I can spot that C in somebody, it helps me to go, okay, I'm dealing with the C here. Maybe I could take it down a notch,
Or give them space to think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, because I have a husband who is a C, right? And so there are times that I have to give him information, give him thoughts and feelings and all of that kind of stuff, and then let him think about it.
Yep.
And so that has helped us go a long way in our communication, because we know that about each other. So
it's a higher level of respect, honestly. It's very respectful to give people the space that they need and speak to them in a way that they will, understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are a few simple ways that we can become more present in conversations, even when we get triggered and stuff by somebody else's style?
Honestly, it's like, we're not going to overcomplicate it. Just pause, take a breath, right? It doesn't have to be that complicated. But I think if you're just to become more present, you just need to take a breath and again, be present because very often we're bringing the past into this conversation. We're just assuming that this conversation is going to go just like it does every single time I talk to them. Or we're going into the future where we're trying to predict that this is going to make me so angry and I can't wait to go tell this person and I can't be present. Take a deep breath and get curious. Ask questions because sometimes we build up the wall and we become bitter, we become angry, we start taking things personally, we become disconnected from the conversation. But maybe just ask a question about that. Like, I kind of have a different perspective on that. And I just would love to understand you a little bit better, where you're coming at from that in a calm voice. Like, try something different is what I want to say. Just try something different.
Okay. And how does listening reflect the heart of Christ and help in the environment of our home even?
Yeah. Well, if you really think about, in James, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. And sometimes at home, with people that we are the closest to, we're not usually slow to speak, right? Why is that so hard with the people that are the closest to us?
Right.
And I mean, we should be that way with everybody around us, but I mean, especially the people that we love the most. And just to put that into practice and realize that, again, putting the pause into practice, really listen to them. And it's hard sometimes because we feel like we know better, especially with our kids, right? Like, okay, listen, I've lived life a lot longer than you have, and I've been down this road, and we try to correct and we try to do all these things, right? But just really allowing them to, and being a coach and having my kids, like they call me on it and they're like, Mom, I don't want you to be my coach right now. I just want you to be my mom. And that's a big hurt. Like, it hurts so bad when they say that, but I'm so thankful that they do because then they're telling me what they need in the moment. And even though it hurts and I get angry because I'm like, but you don't understand I'm doing this because I love you. I'm having my own internal conversation.
Trying to bring you higher, kid. Just higher perspective. Can I offer you another perspective?
Oh,
no,
hard.
You can't.
They're over it. And if I'm not speaking it to them, they hear me through the walls of the room. So anyway, I just think that, especially with the people that we love, put this into practice because it's going to change your relationship because bitterness really can grow very quickly, especially in our household. And just to remember, like, thinking of the beautiful example of what Christ has done and the stories and being with and just being present, like, that is what we are called to. And it's not going to be easy. We're breaking some of our old habits that are just so natural that we don't think those things through. But when we slow down enough and we just do the pause, then we can think through, like, what, before it comes out of my mouth, how is this going to impact the other person, right? Because we're here to love. We're not here to create anger and bitterness. We're here to love.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also hearing that you're saying, what if we understand them better? We might not have that temptation to do all of those other things, right?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. This is an opportunity to educate yourself, right? And I always use this example, anything that you want to excel in with life, like, let's say you want to be a doctor. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. No, you have to go to school and educate yourself, and you have to go in and do hours and this and that to become that. And let's say you want to become a better listener. Got to put the hours in. We're going to learn. We're going to educate. And you guys, it doesn't have to feel like a grueling experience. What you put into it, you're going to get out of it. If you get excited about this, I was at a point in my life where I was like, why is the world so mean? I don't like people. Why are they so mean to me? And why don't they like me? Because I'm a pleaser and I want everybody to like me. And those moments and those conversations got me to a point where I'm like, I really want to understand this person better. And then I started like doing YouTube videos and narcissism and like going really deep on those things. And I was like, whoa, this is way bigger than me. Like, this has nothing to do with me at all, but then I'm being serious.
Yeah,
Like
we
this,
believe you.
it was definitely an eye-opening opportunity for me to fall in love with this process, because the more I understand people, the easier it is for me to love them and not be angry with them. And then that's where
such
the
a good
peace
word.
happens. And then when the peace happens, your whole well-being changes, because you're now in control of what you decide to get angered about. You're now in control that you want more peace in your life, and you don't have to be frustrated and angry for years and years over something that happened so many years ago. We can't take back the past. We can only learn from it. And now we've been given the opportunity to forgive and to love like Jesus does. And now we get to move forward and say, this is what my future relationship with this person will be.
So good. And Laurie, as we're wrapping up here, what is one small step that somebody can take? Because this is kind of big, right? This is a big topic, and it's a lot of learning and all of that kind of stuff. But what is one small step that they can even take this week, today, as they listen, to move forward in being a better listener, helping other people to feel seen and heard?
Honestly, it's kind of just summing it all up, what we were just talking about. Just stay in the present.
Okay.
Just try that. Try to just stay in the present, where you are listening to the words that are coming out of that person's mouth. Stay in the present and don't forecast the future. Don't think about what they're going to say. Don't interrupt. Allow them to speak and just be presently there. And it's going to feel awkward at first. I'm going to tell you that. It's going to feel very awkward if this is not something that comes naturally to you. But again, going back to when we opened up this call, think about if you have somebody in your life that makes you feel special. That could be something that is going to help you to see the clarity of the space you want to create for them. And just when you create that space, you will feel your shoulders drop. You will feel love and compassion and empathy and not judgment. And I think if you just put that into practice, it does not need to look perfect, but just try and see what happens. And if you see the value in it, you'll move that on into the next conversation you have as well.
Awesome.
Everything you're just describing feels like wide open, spacious life to me. I mean, of stepping into that. And Laurie, I know that we have so many more questions. Like, I love spending time with you. I'm like, we need a Laurie session. Like, Coach Laurie comes on every 6 weeks. We're going to ask you to come back. So, but if you guys want to get in touch with Laurie, we're going to put all this in the show notes. You can find out more resources that she has at lauriedufresnecoaching.com. Again, pick up her course and her workbook, this Breaking Free from Limiting Beliefs. You can also find that on her website. And I know you just started a YouTube channel. Way to go. And ladies, we're going to ask you, we are supportive women here at this community. Would you please do us a favor and go give her a follow on YouTube? Because the more subscribers you get, it actually helps Laurie reach more women. And we're a supportive community. So, and by the way, you'll find benefit there. I watched your videos to prep for this, and it's great, Laurie. You're putting out some great stuff in the world. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ladies. It's honestly, it's such an honor to be a part of this. You guys are doing unbelievable things as well. And it's just, it's a huge blessing to see what you guys are doing and impacting. And I love your podcast, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. It was such a joy to spend time with you.
You too. Always looking forward to coming back.
Sounds good. Well, with that, ladies, we'll see you again next week. My prayer is freedom will become your story and redemption your song. Now it's time to take hope-filled action. And if today's episode spoke to you, please don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share, and help us grow this community. Thanks for listening to Wild Hope Rising. Until next time, keep stepping boldly into the spacious life you were created for.